It's really important for carpenters to have their voices heard in the process, both through the issues that get debated and the candidates that parties choose to support. If we don't show up and have our voices heard, then other people will have their voices heard. You're choosing candidates that are going to run in general elections or in primary elections, and it's important that those candidates know who we are and kind of what issues matter to us and why we advocate for them. Precinct caucuses are grassroots sort of community gatherings where people get together, they talk about issues that are important to them, they debate and pass resolutions that go into the party platforms of the Republican and Democratic parties. There are also precinct caucuses for the Green Party and Independence parties as well. They debate these issues, they talk about things that are going on in the community, and then the other piece of business they have to do is they elect delegates to conventions that go on to make endorsements. Show up and there's an agenda. Someone's typically already tasked with running that meeting, so they're already the delegated chair, the nominated chair. In some cases, a person has to just come volunteer themselves at night to run the meeting. But in general, there's an agenda you walk through. One of the first things that they do is they elect delegates to other conventions. So sometimes there's a county unit convention, Hennepin County or Ramsey County, or rural counties do county conventions as well. Sometimes there's a Senate district convention, sometimes there's both, so people volunteer to be delegates. These aren't usually too competitive, but sometimes you have to run against other people for those seats if multiple people want to be a delegate. And then after the delegate elections happen, that's when you start talking about caucus resolutions. Now each party has resolution forms you fill out. You would actually bring that with you to the caucus. You can either write it up or type it up, whatever works. Some unions provide resolutions to their members. If you're interested in a resolution, the Carpenters Union would be happy to provide you one on key issues like prevailing wage, right to work, funding for infrastructure, mining, other issues that are kind of job related. And what it does is it creates an atmosphere where you can talk about those issues in your community. Oftentimes they debate them and take a vote on them too. So if a resolution is read, then you have to describe kind of what you're arguing for, and then your neighbors, maybe some of them actually disagree with you, but some of them, hopefully many of them, agree with your position on it. And then there's a vote taken. And resolutions that get passed move on through the convention process and ultimately go to the state convention. Now ultimately, what we're trying to do is pass resolutions that get in the state party platforms, because we don't really care which political party you belong to, Republican or Democrat. We want their party platform positions to be pro-labor or pro-worker, to be in favor of working carpenters. So ultimately, all these resolutions get passed across the state. Hopefully we have them in dozens and maybe even hundreds of precinct caucuses around the state. They move on through the convention process and then get adopted at a state convention. I want all our members to consider the regional council and their locals as a resource. If they have questions about caucusing, we want to try to make this as easy as possible. If you watch this video and you feel like you learned a little bit, but you still have questions, if you're active as an apprentice, or if you're active in the Sisters in the Brotherhood, or some other part of the council here that you want to learn more about this, we're going to try to do some precinct caucus trainings around the state, around the region, around all 6 states. And we also want to make sure that if anyone has questions or needs anything that could help them do their job at the precinct caucus level, that we're providing those resources and that support.